Okay, first item on the agenda is the closed session portion of the meeting. May I have a mover and seconder to go into closed session under the authorities as printed as in the agenda? Councillor Muir, Councillor Gladden. All in favor? Hands rising, motion's carried. Okay, rising out of closed session, council approved the closed session minutes of the March 4th council meeting. Council discussed nominations for the Senior of the Year Award and Ontario Honors Award, employee negotiations, legal matters under solicitor-client privilege, and possible acquisition, disposition of lands in closed session. The time being 7:04, I'd like to call this meeting to order. First item on the agenda is the traditional territory acknowledgement, followed by a moment of silence. Council of the Township of Red Rock hereby acknowledges that we are on the traditional territory of the Robinson Spirit Treaty and that the land we gather on is home to the Red Rock Indian Band, the Anishinaabe, and Métis people. Administration advises that there are no amendments to the agenda. Do any members of council wish to make amendments to the agenda? Okay, seeing none, can I have a mover and seconder for motion to approve the agenda as presented? Councillor Gladden, Councillor Smith. All in favor? Motion's carried. Is Cindy on or not? Let's see, right? Okay. Are there any declarations of interest to disclose? Okay, see none. Okay, tonight we have Michael from the Ontario Clean Water Agency here to present the 2023 Section 11 Annual Report for the Red Rock Drinking Water System. This 2023 Schedule 22 Annual Summary Report for the Red Rock Drinking Water System and 2022-2023 Red Rock Drinking Water System Inspection Report.
Good afternoon. Can everybody hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Thank you very much for having me. This is just a quick summary of that report you just mentioned. It's the summary of the annual report for Schedule 22 for the Red Rock Drinking Water Treatment Plant. I noticed in the report that there were no definitions or acronyms listed in there, so I put this slide in just for your record. The town does have a copy of this slide in case you need to refer to anything that doesn't normally stay in your vocabulary. In Ontario, Reg 170 of the Safe Drinking Water Act requires an annual report to be prepared for each drinking water system. This report is intended to inform the public and municipal council about the operation of the drinking water system over the previous calendar year. The OREG requires the development and distribution to the public of the annual report summarizing water quality monitoring results, adverse water quality incidents, system expenses, and chemicals used in the treatment process. Chemicals used at Red Rock are chlorine gas, sodium hypo, soda ash, polymer, aluminum sulfites, and bentonite. Major system expenses, the water tower inspection at $6,436.32. If any of you have gotten this report early, there was also emergency repairs to a dialer listed on this slide, and that expense was removed as it was actually an expense to the wastewater treatment facility. Okay, sorry here, I've got a backup one. The Red Rock Adverse Water Quality Incident Reports, January 31st, the loss of data on a chlorine analyzer due to power loss for an hour and 12 minutes. We did report, but it was not a reportable incident. The solution requesting the town for backup power supply. I can confirm that the town has a generator now available for that particular incident in case we do run into that again. At any extended period of time, we can hook up. February 28th, loss of pressure, a repair to a leaking residential stop. Flushed main, and it was flushed main and sampled. This was reported. April 24th, loss of data to the analyzer again. It was temporary, not a reportable. We requested the solution was the same backup power supply, which time wasn't needed. August 15th, low pressure in the water main, planned main shutdown for a sewer manhole replacement. So again, that was a planned incident. The OREGs require the development and distribution to council of an annual report summarizing incidents of regulatory and non-regulatory associated corrective actions, in addition to providing flow monitoring results for the purpose of enabling the owner to assess the capabilities of the system and meet existing and planned demands. The daily flow rates for raw water, average daily volume versus permit to take water, maximum daily volume versus permit to take water, the treated water, average daily volume versus municipal drinking water license, maximum daily volume versus municipal drinking water license. A summary of the raw and treated flows, including maximum raw flow into the treatment system, as well as treated average, maximum, and total flow rates are included in the tables below. The quantity of water supplied during the reported period did not exceed the terms and conditions of the permit to take water, nor did the maximum daily treated flow rate exceed the rated capabilities for this system. So everything was good. Red Rock regulatory noncompliance and corrective actions. The Ministry of Environment conducted an inspection of Red Rock drinking water system on February 8th, 2023 and January 10th of 2024. There was one noncompliance identified in this report. The noncompliance was a sampling error. Issue was corrected. The final inspection rating was 96.98. And that's just a brief outline of the important parts of the annual report. As you go through that annual report, if you have any detailed questions, I'm available at any time to answer any questions or concerns. I am out of Thunder Bay and available quite quickly. Anybody have any questions?
Council, is there any questions? Councillor Muir?
How you doing? Just quickly. So when I went through the report, I noticed some of the regulations were on the inspection notice, but then there were some that were blank. So when it came up to the area of the non-compliance, there was a couple of things in there that I looked at that, like the spill contaminant part, R1. Well, like. So there's that, and then there was another one with regard to standby generators are not tested under normal load conditions. Like, do those fall under the municipal drinking water regulations, or are those found under another act that they're referring to?
So the MECP gives us referrals or asks us to, we're constantly looking at improving. So the MEC does put recommendations in those reports.
Right. Okay. So
for best practice.
Okay, so these are more best practice, like the air vents, like stuff like that is just something that they've noted as a best practice then?
Yes.
Okay.
And so what we'll do is we'll sit down and our team will sit with Mark and we will work by prioritizing anything that all of us feel is necessary to address immediately.
Okay. And then my final question is with regard to the backflow prevention. Now, are they recommending just for the plants, or are they saying the township itself and all of its facilities?
Actually, I'm sorry, I couldn't even answer to that question. I can get an answer to you with regards to that.
Okay, you know, that's fine too. I don't need it right now. Appreciate it though.
No
Thanks.
problem.
So Michael, I'm going to wait until we're done all the reports and then we'll pass all three after that, if that's okay with you.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, I don't see any other questions, so we can move on to the other summary.
I'm sorry, I was under the impression I was just doing that one summary tonight. I do not have the summaries for the other two. My apologies for the miscommunication.
So Michael, the drinking water system inspection, the 2023-2024 inspection report.
Yes. Sorry, I just have the annual report summary. I did not do the inspection for you tonight.
I think both, like the information's in both of the reports that he brought up.
It's kind of a throw together of both.
A combined summary that you presented. Okay.
So all three. So you've got the section 11 annual report, the schedule 22 annual report, and the drinking water system DWS, the inspection report, all combined into your report on the screen tonight. Then.
Correct. I didn't, like I said, this was just a summary of, and you guys are fortunate. There's no major events, no major problems. So it's a quick report.
Okay, so does council have any questions on those other reports? Councillor Smith.
Just a quick question on the one item that was non-compliant, and it had the corrective actions. Are we on track for having for adhering to the corrective actions, or I know it said by July 5th, it's only March, but just kind of curious.
Yes, it was just a sampling error due to timing. My understanding is it was within 48 hours of the previous sample take, which was just not acceptable. So it was just a review with staff just to ensure we were timing right.
Is that what, sorry, maybe I'm misreading it. It could be a me thing. Because the non-compliant issue is the secondary disinfectant residual measured as required for lodgement. So it just,
Yeah,
I didn't do those measurements, the secondary measurements.
So the measurements were taken, but part of that regulation requires they're done within a specific time frame, and we were just outside that time frame.
Okay, that's right.
The residuals came back with no alarms or alerts.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
And just if I could give a summary just on the 3 into 1, that so it is blanketed, and the drinking inspection report in my follow-up meetings with Ontario Clean Water, I can report that there was the one non-compliance, and there was several best practice recommendations. But in saying that, Ontario Clean Water reported that this is a fantastic report. It's a fantastic inspection report based on an MECP audit. So I think that's a good news moving forward.
Okay, seeing no further questions, is there a mover and seconder for a motion to accept the 2023 Section 11 annual report for the Red Rock Drinking Water System presented by Aqua? Councillor Muir. Councillor Gladden. All in favor? All hands rising, motion's carried. Okay, is there a mover and seconder for motion to accept the 2023 Schedule 22 annual summary report for the Red Rock Drinking Water System presented by Aqua? Councillor Gladden. Councillor Muir. All in favor? All hands rising, motion's carried. Okay, is there a mover and seconder for motion to accept the 2022-2023 Red Rock Drinking Water System Inspection report presented by Aqua? Counselor Muir, Counselor Smith, all in favor? Motion's carried. Thank you, Michael, very much for the report.
Thank you very much for your time.
Have a great evening.
You too.
Okay, open session minutes of the last regular meeting, March 4th, are at items 5.1 of the agenda. Are there any errors or omissions to note in the open session minutes? Seeing none, can I have a mover and seconder for motion to approve the open session minutes at items 5.1? Counselor Muir, Counselor Gladden, all in favor? Motion's carried. Okay, first item 6.1 are resolutions from other municipalities. Do any members of council have any remarks on the items? Counselor Muir?
Yeah, just a motion to pass that, the one for the greater city of Sudbury. It's a troublesome piece there that needs to be addressed.
Okay, so is there a mover and seconder for motion to support the correspondence from the city of Greater Sudbury regarding amendments to the Occupational Health and Safety Act to clarify the definition of employer? Counselor Muir, Counselor Gladden, all in favor? Motion's carried. Okay, is there a mover and seconder for a motion to support the correspondence from the town of Lincoln regarding the urgent need for increased funding for libraries and museums in Ontario? Counselor Smith, Counselor Gladden, all in favor? Motion's carried. Okay, 6.2 information and discussion purpose regarding NOMA's board meeting summary. Enclosed in the summary are many attachments, including a letter and resolution on securing natural gas for our communities and our community and Ontario. Do members of council have any remarks? Everybody's read it? Okay. Is there a mover and seconder for a motion to support the resolution from NOMA regarding securing access to natural gas for our community and Ontario? Okay. Councilor Muir, Councilor Smith. All in favor? Motion's carried. Yeah. Yeah.
There was a section with human health resources, and I don't know if there was they wanting the letter of support for international students. I don't know if we're gonna address that now or it was
The way we brought it was any resolution they were asking each community to address, we brought, otherwise, they were addressed already by NOMA, so we could support it further, or we could just take the fact that NOMA has supported it and move on. So we did that. We shared the whole document and then specifically asked for resolutions based on what they requested us to do. Otherwise, we were just going to support the NOMA.
Okay, 6.3, I believe I'm on, right? Okay, is discussion purposes from the nuclear free north. Pardon me? Oh, regarding the transportation and burial of nuclear waste in northwestern Ontario. Do any members of council wish to make any remarks on this item? Councilor Muir.
Yeah, so they're asking for a letter from us. I'm just scrolling down. I had some notes I wrote on here. We did have that presentation previously, I think it was 2 years ago. From the Nuclear Waste Management Organization, and their plan had so many holes in it. I definitely fully opposed to them transferring that stuff anywhere. There's no plan in place for that. So therefore, I mean, with the roads the way they are and the accidents that are happening, when I asked the question about a spill, they just assured us that there's nothing would leak out of the containers. I don't buy it. So there's no way I want to see our families exposed to this at all up here. So I'm hoping we could pass a resolution to support having, you know, them not bring it up here.
They did mention too that they had this travel this way and they never did come back, right? They were supposed to tour the North Shore, the highway community, so. Okay, is there a mover and seconder for a motion to support the correspondence from We the Nuclear Free North regarding urging nuclear waste management organization to find storage solutions for nuclear waste in the vicinity of the reactor station where the waste is and not pursue the transport of the radioactive wastes in Northern Ontario? Councillor Muir, Councillor Smith, all in favor? Motion's carried. Item 6.4 is for approval purposes regarding the 2024 Live from the Rock Folk Festival. Do any members of council have any remarks? Councillor Smith.
Kind of have a remark. It might not be a popular remark. But I would like to see a little bit more given back to residents here when we donate so much in kind and give them access and block our marina for 4 days to if they could give discounts at least to residents or do something, you know, to support the community that's trying to support them. That's just my opinion, at least. We are giving them a lot. We give them the land, we give them the RV, we give them the entire marina. We have no access unless we pay to enter it for those 4 days. We give them all the people to set up, and I just personally think that be a little bit nicer to see something in kind. I know it's not popular, but that's my opinion.
So just to clarify, residents do have access to the marina if they want to go fishing and boating and all of that stuff. They don't have to pay to enter that. So there is that, right? So if you were to go down, if you wanted to go fishing for the day and enter through the marina, you do have access to go.
So
You don't have to pay entry fee to enter the festival. Just so you know that.
okay, that
Yeah.
was not quite my understanding. I thought if you're gonna go down there and hang out at the park and the splash pad while that festival is happening, you would have to pay to enter there.
I believe we'll get clarification
If I
on that,
can
but
have
I'm pretty
clarification
sure
on
you
that,
can.
I would
Yeah,
appreciate that.
because that's why they have wristbands and all of that stuff. But I do know for sure about fishing and accessing the because we do have boaters that are frequent users, right? Every year we have this discussion and I know I think it's a bit frustrating, but it's a huge economic boost, right? For Red Rock, believe it or not. So, and seeing all the people here, but maybe we can work something out with them. If it's showing that we don't have access to the splash pad and all.
Yeah, and
that stuff.
I can report back to you on that. I don't want to speak out of turn on that, but I do believe that that the access is still available. It's more based on the inside scope of that gated area. But again, I'll confirm that and get back to council on that.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking for, because I know, especially if it's nice out and that's the only park we really have. I just want to make sure that us as residents still have access to that regardless of what's going on down there.
Okay, is there a mover and seconder for motion to approve an in-kind donation that includes use of the Marina Park campgrounds and marina building, as well as support from the Township Public Works Department for the 2024 Live from the Rock Folk Festival? Councillor Gladden. Counselor Muir. All in favor? Motion's carried. Okay, next item up for discussion purposes only relating to Hydro One's vegetation maintenance within the Township of Red Rock. Do any members of council have any remarks on this item? Counselor Muir.
Yeah, so I did read through the one part and I just kind of noted that they said that they do obtain consent from landowners. So I put a little note on there that I do want to see some proof that they're getting consent from people. I mean, it'd be nice to know if they've actually asked people. I don't know how we do that, but it would be nice to know if they've got an actual consent from some of the landowners.
Yeah, what I can say is, I believe they have, in the reports they've given to me, they have to. So they do have options, and that's why they then approach the township as well, because their preferred method is to use the pesticide, the herbicide, right? So that's their preferred method for a couple of reasons. Obviously, they're all deemed safe in the province of Ontario. They have to meet all those regulations. And B, being that they are their best long-term approach to controlling the growth around their lines. But in saying that, they do have to get the okay from whether it's the municipality or private landowners. So that's why the decision comes to council. The best way they've described it to me is they come in, whether the 20-minute, for example, dry time, and then obviously it's safe to use. So by the time they're gone from spraying, then I mean it's animal safe, it's pet safe, the whole bit. So they come in to private ownership or to what goes through private property as well as municipal property. They have to maintain their lines, but they do come and have that consultation piece, because if they don't want, or if they find a private owner or a municipality does not want to use that product, then they have to revert to what they call Plan B, which is clearing the growth themselves. But again, they assure us that obviously this is all meets regulatory requirements, is all approved, and they're actually I believe I saw them in town today starting the clearing of the perimeters, and then they'll continue later on in April, I believe, early May, with the rest based on the direction of council.
I don't ever recall having an option of mechanical operate, right? Herbicidal application, we can resort to mechanical operation. So that's just basically clearing brush, right? Like it's always just, we're just spraying and then that's it. So is it something that we should think of really, because the way the weather is, fire season, maybe getting them to clear? Is it just underbrush? Like what is?
Well, like I said,
What's-
they will clear the line, right? They have to clear the line mechanically, or the baseline, but then they then use this product to clear like, for example, he said that could last 20 years as opposed to 2 years. Once you start machining and getting that growth back up, it actually comes back thicker. I don't know why you would have never got this before. I remember seeing these decisions previous in a different role that I had, with remembering that the way it was explained to me as well is some municipalities will actually pass a bylaw against using this, but remembering that the utility companies, any bylaw that's out there will also state that utility companies have the right to clear their property. So again, they're reporting. I guess it's that courtesy decision to give to council that, hey, if you don't want us to do it this way, which is our preferred method, then we can revert to an alternative method. But so that's kind of the direction they're looking for.
Councillor Muir?
Yeah, this is the first time they've provided sheets. I mean, I went through the environmental fate, but the wildlife assessment, I was confused. It said they're practically non-toxic. So almost non-toxic to honeybees and birds and mammals. But it does say that it kind of fades, like it doesn't, it's not like an old pesticide you had back in the 80s, right, where it'd be in the ground forever, but yeah, I don't, it seems safe. I mean, with all the,
Yeah, and I think Hydro, this is a Hydro one reaching out to us. I believe in the past, even in my time here, there's been other utility companies and or that have just come and did it, right? And that's maybe where that confusion is coming in, but certainly they're open and transparent about the discussions and willing to take whatever approach the township advises them to take. This is their preferred method. And the method they use. I did ask if, what is the percentage, for example, because I like to get that to present to council. And they said it's different everywhere, but this is generally the preferred method. It's no different. The best way they explained it to me is putting something that you might buy at Home Depot on your lawn to kill weeds, for example. They're safe. They meet all Ontario regulations.
Councillor Biden?
Are they gonna post on site that they are spraying?
Well, I have to reach back out to Alan to give him the direction, and I could certainly ask him for that. He was actually going on holidays. He should be back probably midweek this week. So I told him I'd get back to him probably as early as tomorrow. So I can ask him to post that. for
Yeah,
sure.
I think it would probably be good on the site for people to even to see, even just a spec on the herbicide that they're using. Just for more public information.
I believe in the past, it's all been rail lines. They just come in and say that we're spraying, and all we've ever done really is send a letter saying that we don't support it. Because we don't believe it's all that safe, but Hydro One, they did a better report than anybody else, but I mean, I think it's just still a pesticide, but, or whatever.
Yeah. Well, and like I said, they have they said it's a catch-22. They do different methods in a lot of different areas. If there's a comfort level that's not there for this, then we advise them to machine, and they'll do that. It's totally up to council on that, and they just need to know to prepare for what they're doing. That's all.
Councillor Muir?
yeah, I think if we asked and a bunch of people on the street, they're gonna say, well, why are you bringing chemicals? I think I'm comfortable with them doing it mechanically. If they're willing to do it, go and chop it down and versus spraying. I'm comfortable with that. We've already got enough chemicals in the air.
And you see in the email, it says, I mean, if the township opposes herb application, we can resort to mechanical operations. They both have pros and cons, right? So.
I'm in favor of the mechanical.
Okay, yeah, ditto.
I think that's the direction from the rest of council.
Yeah, I will report that to them tomorrow. No, they'll bring in machinery and have it done. Like I said, the only downfall he gave me to that was the fact that the mechanical piece will actually create more work for them and have to come back more often because it'll spur more growth, right? Whereas the herbicide will. Yeah, for sure. No, I can report that to him. That's no problem at all. I do that tomorrow.
Okay, next item, report from the Community Development Officer. Ashley is online. Welcome, Ashley.
Good evening, everybody.
Do any
Can you hear
members?
me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you. Any
Okay.
members of the council have any questions? Councillor Smith.
First, if you want to talk about anything first, I can always ask questions, but my question will be more around the logo.
Okay. Can you move your mic a little bit? I can't hear you very well.
My question's around the logo and the new logo and the concepts and
Okay. Do you have a specific question or would you just like me to go over that process?
Go over the proposed logo and redesign if you can.
Um, Okay. So the survey results came in. We had 59 results total. Concept 3 had quite a big lead compared to the other logos. So it came in at 56.90% of respondents were in favor of concept 3 as the best representation for Red Rock. There were a lot of comments in the feedback section regarding the hill in the background of concept 3 and in general. It's like, where's the red rock? It's Red Rock. So we had the consultants revamp or update concept 3 with a red mountain. I just got that in this afternoon, so that was sent out to council earlier this evening, later this afternoon. So the process that we're looking at is actually for council to review options, concept 3, the original and the revamped. We don't have a whole lot of time to keep the rest of the project on schedule, to do another full week-long plus community consultation piece. So essentially, they took the feedback that we were looking for out of our community survey process and came back to us with an updated logo. So essentially, that's what council will be voting on April 2nd, to take on as Red Rock's new logo. So we did meet the community consultation piece that we were looking for. We had a pretty good consensus. Like concept 1 only received 16 votes, concept 2 only received 9 votes, and concept 3 received 33. So that was a fairly big lead compared to the other ones. And we believe we met the majority of the comments that came back in the feedback section of the survey. So that's what we've decided internally to do, is present these two versions of concept 3 to council. You'll have a week to 2 weeks to review them and make the final decision on April 2nd.
Sorry, when we spoke about the designs and we said they were gonna come back and give the community a chance to re-vote on them. Based on that, I personally think that we should, if we have till April 2nd, at least give them a week to vote on those two. It may not be popular belief. However, since that's what we said we would do, I would not want to vote on it. I would like to see it go back to the public.
Okay, so I can take that back to our consultants. So that was based off of the survey results initially. I was thinking that we may have a bit of a closer tie between some of the concepts. That did not happen, so it was their recommendation to go this route, but if council feels that the community does need to decide between these two concepts, even though those comments were taken into the updated version, then I guess that is what we can do, is present these two. We would not have the results back in time by the time the survey gets developed and out to the public. There's no guarantee that the results would meet the deadline to have the final survey results to council for the April 2nd meeting. It would end up going to the April 15th meeting, which would put the whole project a little further behind schedule.
I
But if
personally
it is
feel
the
that
will
if
of
there is
council
a-
that we take the two concepts to the public again, then that is what we will do.
I mean, we only had 60 people respond.
That's actually pretty good for Red Rock, considering our
Yeah,
strategic
so I
plan
mean,
only
we are
had
going,
70.
it's either with either option 3 or with what the comments, the recommendation of having the Red Rock or whatever in the back. So I haven't looked at that email yet, so I think we can make that decision, but I don't want to delay this project either.
You wouldn't have to vote on it today. You would be able to have time to review and make the decision at the April 2nd meeting. So
Counselor Meir?
Yeah, I think we could probably, I agree too. I definitely want to see more, another vote on this. Just because we said we're going to do it. And I mean, we don't necessarily need to do a full 2 week. We can get this posted right away. And get this up on a Survey Monkey type deal. And say it's here, you've got 4 days, whatever we need, so we can make the deadline. At least they'll give us some more information and give people an opportunity. Facebook page reaches a ton of people. We get it shared out there. And I think we could have it circulated through the town by tomorrow evening, and then everybody would at least know. And they can have a look at it.
I can follow up with our consultants, but based on their schedules that they've provided with me, tomorrow evening will not be possible. We would be lucky to get the survey by the end of the week, just as a heads up. So we can try and do it some other routes. But I will speak with our consultants tomorrow and see what they can do for us.
Ashley, who is funding this interpretation plan?
This is funded by Parks Canada, National Marine Conservation Area, and Destination Northern Ontario.
So we're not wasting taxpayers' dollars like some of the comments
No.
back. Okay, just to
If
clarify.
we end up due for every extra revision, an extra further delay it, so far they've been nice and not charging us extras. It is within our original budget, but the more revisions and the more surveys we do, it could end up going above our original budget that is funded by both Destination Northern Ontario and the Marine Conservation Area.
Okay, thanks. Maybe you want to just highlight a couple things in your report. I don't know if anybody else has any questions.
Sure. So we had our startup meeting for the Recreation Center Rehabilitation Project this afternoon. RML was the successful contractor, so they will be starting to set up around the Recreation Center by April 1st. So just a reminder that it is going to be an active construction site to respect all signage, fencing, and barriered areas. Our community safety and well-being plan, you have the final draft for you for this evening, which will be addressed in a later component. But if there's any questions regarding the community safety well-being plan, feel free to ask them to me now. There will be a joint application going in with the other communities to Public Safety Canada to bring in a coordinator to help us with the first implementation stages. So it's a priority-based application. So the coordinator would be brought in to address one of the main priorities that were identified within the community safety and well-being plan. So we're having a meeting on that later this week to identify which community will be applying and looking after administration and administration of the funds and of the kind of the coordinator contact, potential office space, things like that. So that is coming up this week. Other than that, the Golden Club van had arrived a couple weeks ago. So there's just some final reporting that they have to do for that program, but the van is here. You may have seen it around town. The Historical Society has finished their library and archives grant, so they've had over 4,000 items digitized as part of their collection through that grant and hiring an intern to do so. So that was a big win for the Historical Society, and they've put in an application. I've been able to assist them with that for the next round of funding to continue digitizing their collection, prioritizing mill items. So photographs of the mill site and the prisoner of war camp. And just the other outstanding grant applications, we're still waiting for those to be approved. And I'm just assisting administration with end of year reporting. So that's basically what's been taking up my time lately.
Counselor Smith?
Just one more question. You didn't touch on, just curious regarding the bridge one repair. You just said managing budget project documentation. How's that going? Is that going good?
So the work for the 2023-2024 fiscal is complete through NORD's funding. There is some anticipated work to take place this coming summer, but we still have to go through the engineering process with that. Some of it's just stabilizing the bank. There's a couple more pile caps that should be addressed. So I've got an initial budget for that work. We're sitting at around $70,000 for that work, but it is all covered through our NORD's funding and our OSIF funding. At this time, I'm not anticipating any bridge closure. Like there may be a single day bridge closure, but once we get our full engineering documents done from that, we'll have a better idea of how long those closures would be, if any.
Any other questions? Oh,
Just kind of a one general comment based on direction. Just so if we are directed to bring this back, we kind of need that direction tonight. And just kind of a gentle reminder that, I mean, Ashley is working through recommendations in our current strategic plan. She didn't pull these projects out of just the top of her hat, for example. She's diligently working through the strategic plan and trying to bring pieces of that strategic plan that we've passed as a group out. So we do need direction. If it has to go back or it wants to go back to council or to the community, that is fine. And we can make arrangements to delay the project, but we kind of need clear direction moving forward on that.
Counselor Muir?
I'd be happy, like even sharing a post on Facebook saying pick A or B. I'd be fine with that. I'd be more than fine with that on our Facebook page, A or B. And then if they answer, we need a bylaw officer, like it's A or B. And just pick, and then we know, then council can make a decision based on that. I'd be happy with that myself. So I think that's going to reach a lot of people in the community too.
Okay, so we'll just go with a simple poll question. Yep.
Just pictures, A or B, that's it. We don't need a survey really. And then all the council will share it and we'll get enough people and then get shared. Like even I think the first time it was shared like 42 times. So right off the hop, like those things give us around that. At least that gives us public, that is still consultation and people are still answering, and they're letting us know what they want. So I'm happy with that too. Doing it that way.
Okay.
Probably have a decision made by Tuesday. And that'll keep us on track then, eh?
Yeah. And again, it doesn't matter how we do it, as long as we know, so we can meet internally and put a plan together based on that. So, I mean, however we want to go with that, that's totally fine. If we want to do it that way, that's fine. If we want to go to a full survey, we'll just have to delay it a bit. That's all.
I'm good with that. And so we can get it done, stay on track. Everyone else good with that or?
Counselor Smith?
I'm actually fine with that. For me, it was more of, we'd say we'd present it to the community, whether it's in a survey or Facebook. I don't care. I just want to just show that we are adhering to what we're saying and we're going to share it to give at least somewhat of a, visual to the town and they can choose. So if it's via Facebook with, choose A or B, and just do a simple survey, A, B, no comments, that's great.
And realizing you're absolutely correct. We're going to get comments, which we'll handle that part of that internally. You're going to get all kinds of comments on that kind of a format, but we can deal with that internally and get that through. For sure.
Thanks, Ashley. Is there a mover and seconder for motion to receive the report? Counselor Gladden. Counselor Smith. All in favor? Motion's carried. Okay, next item. Report from the fire chief. I'm assuming, Mark, you're handling this?
Yeah, I can field any questions and some of the bylaws later on we'll take care of.
Any questions on the report? Seeing none? Okay, is there a mover and seconder for motion to appoint Roger McGuire as captain of the Red Rock Volunteer Fire Department and to appoint Julia Sands as a firefighter for the Red Rock Volunteer Fire Department? Councillor Muir, Councillor Gladden, all in favor? Motion's carried. Welcome, Julia. Okay, is there a mover and seconder for a motion to receive the report? I think that's later.
Yeah, that'll be handled in the bylaw at the.
Yeah, no, that's okay. Mover and seconder to receive the report, Councillor Muir, Councillor Smith. All in favor? Motion's carried. Okay, next item, a report on administrative activities. Do any members of council have questions of Mr. Figlini? Just a report, I guess. update.
Yeah, for sure. Just some summaries and highlights. I did attend the Rock Tech BMI announcement. I flew down to Toronto for one day to attend that ceremony that evening. So exciting news. What could be potentially exciting news for Red Rock and the area. It was a great event. I hope I represented Red Rock well, but it was a gathering of a lot of the communities that are involved either with the lithium process as well as BMI and their port projects and a lot of their other industrial sites. So it was a very interesting night, and again, a good announcement for Red Rock. Rock Tech has selected the Red Rock industrial site, the old mill site, for their selected site if that all goes well. So that's definitely good news. I guess just an update on some kind of format coming in the near future for just reporting somewhat of a public works report to council. That report will come through me, and hopefully we'll have enough time to get that together for our next meeting of council. So we will put a process together so we can provide council with some reports based on that department as well. Autism Ontario, it's something that Mayor Robinson is going to participate in on behalf of the Township of Red Rock. All of council certainly invited, but we were requested, as a lot of municipalities are, to take part in Fly the Flag for a day for autism. So I know Whitney's going to put together some kind of a little program, reach out to the school, and it'd be simply, I guess not simply, but raising awareness for autism, and the Township of Red Rock's going to participate in that. That'll be April 2nd. It's World Autism Day, so stay tuned for that. Minister Patty Hajdu is coming to Red Rock March 26th, tentatively, 10 o'clock in the morning. We've got that scheduled. We've reached out to Minister Hajdu based on some discussions we've had, obviously at the provincial level as well, to kind of showcase our area to Minister Hajdu if there's any opportunities for federal funding, mostly related to bridge, and trying to tie into federal funding around there. So there will be more information to come on that, but certainly all of council is invited. It will be the 26th at 10 a.m. if that's if we do have that type of a structure that day, then we'll have to do it in some kind of a council format because we'll be in a quorum of council. If it ends up being myself and or Mayor Robinson or one other member, as long as we don't enter quorum, we can handle it that way. So I'll kind of wait and see who's interested. If if you can make it, maybe let myself or Whitney know this week and we can set the structure up on how we're gonna do that. And lastly is Quad Council. If you wanted to just save a date, May 13th is tentatively booked as a Quad Council. So we haven't seen Quad Council in Red Rock in my term for sure. I believe 2019 might have been the last meeting, but it looks like we're working towards reestablishing those discussions and hopefully Quad Council will take place May 13th. So I believe if I'm not mistaken, I think it was tentatively scheduled for 4 o'clock that day. So, but I'll have more information for council based on that moving forward. And that's really all I had, unless there was any other questions.
Seeing any questions? I just want to clarify that you did go down to Toronto on BMI's dime,
Correct.
correct?
Yes.
So they
There
paid
was
for your flights?
no cost to the township at all. Yes.
Okay. And that was it. Okay, is there a mover and seconder for a motion to receive the report? Counselor Smith? Counselor Gladden? All in favor? Motion's carried. Next item for purposes relating to the vesting of property described as 419 Highway 628. Do members of council have any questions of Mr. Figurini?
Yeah, certainly. I can give a short brief on that. So this piece of property and this process of vesting. So this piece of property is as you're leaving Red Rock on 628, it would be the piece of property on your right. We had it fenced off for duration of time last year and then knocked the building down. So we did have that piece of property up for tax sale. It was a failed tax sale at that time. So you go to your next steps. What we had to do on this piece, there was a huge federal lien on this property. I think it was in excess of just around $200,000. So we were successful in removing that lien. So through this process, we took the application process further. We removed the lien. And now what we're looking for direction from council is to vest in this property. So what that means is we take that property back through that process, and then we can list and sell that piece of property. So there's two, I think, real avenues to take. We could list this back into a tax sale process that will incur more costs onto the property. Or we could take this route and sell it ourselves. If we do sell it for more than the value associated with the property now, we can assume all of those dollars ourselves. So I think it's definitely the route to take is to vest in this piece. And I think we could be able to sell that piece and move forward with that. So direction of council would be just to simply provide that direction to administration to vest. We'll start that process tomorrow.
Okay, is there a mover and seconder for a motion to approve the vesting of 419 Highway 628? Counselor Muir, Counselor Gladden, all in favor? Motion's carried. Next item on the agenda is the bylaw to appoint a deputy fire chief to the Red Rock Volunteer Fire Department. Do any members of council have questions? No. Okay, is there a mover and seconder for a motion to appoint Trevor Applevist as the deputy fire chief for the Red Rock Volunteer Fire Department? Counselor Muir, Counselor Smith, all in favor? Motion's carried. Next item on the agenda is a bylaw to adopt a community safety and well-being plan for the Township of Red Rock and surrounding communities. Do any members of the council have questions of Mr. Figlamini? We do have the report from Ashley. If you've any questions on it? No. Yeah. Okay, is there a mover and seconder for motion to adopt a community safety and well-being plan for the Township of Red Rock and surrounding communities? Counselor Gladden, Counselor Muir, all in favor? Motion's carried. Okay, next item on the agenda under unfinished business are relating to EMS consolidation, OPP detachment, Bruno's development, and Red Rock hockey. Mark does have a little update.
It's just simply on 11-3, so the Bruno's development update. Again, Mr. Di Gregorio is out of the country. He'll be back early next week, I believe. I did speak to him about council's request to see if Mr. Di Gregorio would come back to address council. He let me know that A, he's out of the country, and B, at this point, he doesn't see any need to come back until we make a decision on where we want to be, because he said that's kind of where he left us last time. I mean, he will come back, but he said there's really not much more information he can offer until he knows how we want to develop the property, right? So again, the decision of council on how we want to develop that property is going to be his next step, right? After clearing the land, which we see he's in now. Again, we got into an in-depth conversation about what we feel and he feels would be a very suitable option, and that would be to bring the water and sewer across the highway. I've spoke with Trevor in our public works department that says this is something we can do. We'd have to look at options on how we do it, but it's certainly possible. So what the recommendation or the direction that I think or I'm going to propose to council based on consultation with Mr. Di Gregorio is the fact that we could eliminate a lift station, which we know is going to cost us A, $1 million, or B, more than $1 million, but at least $1 million. And we take the approach of bringing the water and sewer across at the highest level, right? So the secondary piece that Mr. Di Gregorio acquired at high level, the elevation is high enough under his projection that we will not need a lift station, and it allows us to have him develop his subdivision based on the fact that water would be available to all properties and sewer would be available to the upper level properties, and then anything down in the lower level would be serviced by a septic, right? But again, those would be dwellings, so single homes that could operate that way. And he'd leave the upper development or the upper area for either condos or apartments that would then have the water and sewer. So our obligation then would be to bring it across the road and basically cap it or leave it there. And then we can go from there. It'll give us the ability to give him the direction he needs to construct his access points, his roads, and then we'd be set based on a direction of how we want to develop that piece of property. So I wanted to bring that to council for discussion. We could easily then bring this back by resolution at our next meeting and go that route if that's the direction of council. So that is the best case scenario suggestion and discussion that I've had with the developer on how we could proceed.
Councillor Muir.
Yeah, the startup top makes the most sense. Down below where the lift station was proposed to go, I think would be a more viable, but how many facilities or buildings would be pouring into that lift station if we're going to go? That's one question, because if you're looking at, I don't know, because I looked at the drawing just by memory, if there's 12 lots, to put in $1 million lift station for 12 lots, no, right? But if there's gonna be, 40 or 50 more lots or houses dumping into it, then a lift station.
Yeah, I think the original plan for that lift station or for that was, if I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong, but say 19 residential units based on the fact that if you had water and servicing those, you could have smaller lots. If you didn't, under the projection that we is an option, you may then have 10 lots because you need bigger lots now because of the septic, right? So, again, knowing that at this point, we have no funding acquired for that process, right? So, I mean, it's, I guess, a different situation if you're building a lift station and you know that you're coming in and all of a sudden within a year, they're building a subdivision, but that's technically not the case we're dealing with, right? So we might be looking at, let's say, a 10 or even 20, who knows how long our payback is, right? So I think the fact that we can at least establish the water and sewer on the upper level and, I mean, you might be hitting a whole different market that way anyway. If you're gonna buy waterfront property, not necessarily do you want a suburban model where the neighbor is right beside you, right? As per se, you might actually hit a whole targeted kind of audience that wants a bigger lot on the water. I mean, I use Rossport as an example because I mean, we do have a family home there and I do know kind of the dynamics of what Rossport brings, and they're larger lots even on Nickel Island, which would kind of be a comparable, like Nickel Island isn't serviced by water and sewer, right? So, yeah, it's again, we're not. I guess I have to do my due diligence and say we're not really financially prepared at this moment either to say that we have $1 million or $1.5 million out there to build a lift station on. It's kind of the plan, I think, and if that's the direction of council, we would draw up a resolution for next meeting to bring the water and sewer across the property at the highest level. That would establish what he needs to move forward, and then we would have our subdivision plan in place.
Councillor Smith?
Do you know what's gonna cost us just to bring the water and sewer across the road?
So we don't really have a projection on that yet, but I mean, a lot of that work would be done by ourselves internally, as well as the fact that when they're on site, we would have access to a lot of their equipment as well, right? So there will be a cost as well there, but significantly nowhere near the cost of bringing in the infrastructure to a lift station and then the lift station itself. I mean, if you look at a bit of a summary of our current, if you notice all the work happening on our two current lift stations right now, we're basically changing out mechanical and electrical components in those two lift stations. And we're well north of $1 million in that. Again, that's not township. It's a funded project based on the water pollution control plan. But in saying that, relatively speaking, we're at $1 million, $1.5 million, I think, based on just the electrical and mechanical component change out. So.
I'm in favor of this plan. I think it works best for us. As you said, we don't know how long it's gonna take to recoup, that $1 million. So unless Minister Idu is coming next week with $1 million, plus we can sweet talk her into a bridge.
Well, she needs $1 million in
know-
this pocket and $7 million in this
Yeah.
pocket. So I don't know if we can
Right.
try, but
Right. Yeah.
okay. We'll draw up a resolution for next meeting to bring that and give that direction to Mr. De Gregorio, and I think he'll be happy with that and be able to move forward with that plan. That's really all I had on unfinished business. So that's it.
Okay, next item is the bylaw to confirm proceedings of council. Can I have a mover and seconder for motion to pass the bylaw? Councillor Gladden, Councillor Muir. All in favor? Motion's carried. Next meeting of council will be held on Tuesday, April 2nd. Everybody enjoy your long Easter weekend. The time being 8:12, the meeting is adjourned. Thank you.